Welcome to Muscle Matters. Today we're going to talk about social media influencers and how this craze to stay lean year-round is probably not the best thing to do when you're looking for athletic performance. So stay tuned. One of the most amazing things I think about people, it's just like an amazing thing, is the faith that people have in my breaking. Like they really believe. Like, I want to know if the person in front of me is like, they have to be believing in Jesus. The way they just pull out and go, that car right there, it can stop. You ever notice that?
While you're saying this, that's me in front of you. That's me. You have met your antithesis sitting across from you. I am the anti-hero in this story.
On my way over here every day, I have to, driving past Stockdale, there's the senior homes. And it never fails. Some senior will pull out in front of me with,
oh, dude,
no, I don't know. Maybe it's because they're seniors.
They need to have their license revoked, don't they, Steve?
I don't know. Maybe they just want to meet Jesus already because they're like no hurry. Like the gas pedal, like, hey, bro, I pulled in front of you. I see you doing 60. I know you're going to slow down, and I'm going to do 25 in a 55 mile an hour. I don't know. Just thought it's amazing.
They just reasonably speaking, they may have less to live for than you. You know, I mean, like, let's face it. They're coming out of the home and we're live. So I'm going to say something that's going to offend somebody right now. Okay. But they live in this home. They've been eating tapioca pudding all day. They're probably not racing to the gym. Huh? They're probably racing to another geriatric home to meet up with one of their loved ones, right?
Bingo should be important. I mean, this is bingo hour. Okay?
I'm just trying to manufacture a reason why someone would be leaving. I don't know. But anyways, today on Muscle Matters, we wanted to talk about something near and dear to Steve's heart because he has to listen to the Edgars come into a shop every week and talk about these influencers and the trouble they may or may not be getting into at the current moment. And I feel like there's never a shortage of things to talk about in this regard. Things are getting clicks, getting reviews, and that maybe the toxic culture behind it all.
Yeah.
Take it away, Steve.
Well, it's weird. I mean, I talk to a lot of youngsters. I mean, the toxic culture has really come down from being the male athletic person all the way down. I've got my 11-year-old nephew who asked me to write him a diet for abs. I'm like, you're 11, sunshine. You need to put on some meat. You want to play football. We need to put on some meat, but you want ab.
You tell them abs don't matter if you weigh less than $150.
Hey,
really under 200, right?
Yes, what do they say? That's victim weight. I mean, and it's these people. Man, it's crazy how it's washed down. I remember coming up when I competed. I wasn't trying to put money in the promoter show, so I wasn't trying to do a show every week. I wanted to do a show or two. Tom and the old timers told me, hey, you do a show or two, shut it down, put on some meat, grow the body parts that the judges tell you need to grow, come back again. These guys, it's a really good gimmick that they have going, be it the powerlifting meets, be it the bodybuilding meets, with a really good gimmick that they have going to get people just to want to do the local show over and over and over again.
That's a thing. Guys do both.
Yeah. Like it's like with my girlfriend, she's into the powerlifting. I would after her meet, I shut her down. Her coach and one of her coaches and her teammates would get mad because she'd be like, no, Steve, shut me down. I'd be like, oh, no, if you want to do they'll go for medals, cool. But if we're going to keep improving, you got to shut down so you can move your numbers up. You got to train to get stronger.
I almost can't even fathom a world where you just go back to back to back to back.
Yeah, they do.
All the training, the preparation. I just know how taxing a bodybuilding competition is. From the outside looking in, I've never done one, right? I know how miserable those people are in their final phases, right? Yes. And then powerlifting is so stressful on the body.
The central nervous system is like, hey, bro, I'm done.
So how do you cycle those things? What kind of for me, because I don't quite understand that world. Explain to me, or to the layperson, what that split between events probably looks like.
Well, you should actually I'm sorry, we're live, so I want to make sure people understand that we're live. I'm going to go to the live stream and share it.
There you go.
But you should actually take some time off. The body can only do so much before it's going to break. Like,
but tell me what's going on. Like, excuse me. Oh, let me collect, guys. I need more caffeine. What is the period of time that people are spending between these things?
now, nothing. They're going from meet to show to show. I mean, hey, I realized that I wasn't playing the game towards the tail end of my bodybuilding, when the guys were talking about, hey, bro, I see you next week, and you're gonna do this show right here. Yeah, I'm gonna do the next 3 or 4, and I'm like, you're gonna peak for the next 6 months.
That's not a peak, though. You can't.
Well, and see, the thing is, the drugs will help you do anything, but what toll are you paying on the inside of your body?
Man. Okay.
So that
So
brings
are we
us back
talking
to our
about like
subject.
are we talking about stepping on stage or competing every month? I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Yes. Well, most with bodybuilding, there's nothing wrong with doing a warm-up show.
Okay. Just to kind of see where you're at. Kind of test the waters.
We're heading into this show over here. So I'm gonna find a smaller show, less competitors, go out there, do a little bit, get my posing done, see what the judges have to say. And then my main show. So like I would do a show headed into the cow. The cow was the show I wanted to win. This show is the one I did. And it was kind of like a warm-up show, like 2 weeks out. Let me see how let me manipulate a couple things, how it goes right here. Okay, cool. Now let's go do that. Doing them close together. My guys that with the national, the Excalibur, I did the Excalibur for years before I realized that I was bumping my head against the wall, because the Excalibur was 2 weeks after the USAs or the nationals. So these guys that were top 10s, only the top 3 requalify for the national back in my day. So number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7, they were already in shape. So they would fall back to the Excalibur. So they were already peaked. So they didn't have to wait to another show to peak again. They just they were going.
And you were just getting creamed.
And so I was getting top level competitors that were falling back down to requalify. And while I'm still a rookie trying to figure things out. So but yeah, like, no, and so you look, and like, it's one of the things I always tell people, I tell my clients, and I'm sure you tell your clients the same thing, like especially my bodybuilding clients. I'm like, bro, go somewhere and put some fat on.
Mm-hmm.
Go somewhere, put some fat on. And it's crazy to me. And we haven't even got to the part where we're talking about the athletic and the performance side of.
No, I think this is important though, because timing and training is incredibly crucial.
Well,
like
if you're walking around with 5% body fat, 7% body fat, where you're ultra shredded, it takes glycogen to build muscle. So that means to be that shredded, what am I not giving my body?
You're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yes. So what improvements can I make from this show to that show?
Right.
So I'm not going to make any physical improvements.
Right.
I'm literally good. If you place me in 3rd place, cool. I'm going to come back around and bring you the same physique.
Right.
What's going to end up happening is I'm no longer going to be 3rd. I'm going to be 4th.
And the thing that has to be understood is that, like, to stay in peak physical condition year round, it's not actually built. Those gains, those results, the physique you want, the strength gains you want to see, they don't happen while you're training. They happen while you're recovering. And so, but every facet of recovery, nutrition, sleep, your hydration, like you mentioned, glycogen levels, things like that, being able to retain water in the right places.
I mean,
none of those things are optimal when you're in the late phases of competition.
And then you got people that want to be stronger. Like, I think we've beat up the bodybuilders for a while. Let's talk about the heroes of all the broccoli pajama flip, house shoe wearing children that are out there. Let's use, for example, the Trend twins.
Okay, this is relevant,
and it's just recent. I mean, these youngsters are enormous. What's the word I'm looking for? It starts with an E. They're just in love with these individuals, and these individuals that are
enamored.
Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. That they're in love with. They really have nothing going for them other than they did a cycle and put on some weight, and they do a dumb thing. So these gentlemen, and I'm gonna be kind when I'm saying it, One of the brothers put himself in the hospital because he decided that it would be cool on social media to take 6 or 8 scoops of his pre-workout to the neck and then go like, bruh, these are the people that you're following that don't have concept of reality, that the body can only metabolize so much stuff.
There should be censorship against that kind of stupidity.
That's why they put, don't drink the bleach, don't eat the Tide Pods for these kids.
Real talk.
Because these kids and they're watching this and they're like, oh, bro, we're going to show how great our pre-workout is. When that is completely the opposite. If you're trying to tell me how strong your pre-workout is and you've got to take 8 scoops, it's not strong.
Well, it's sensationalism, right? And hey, any publicity is good publicity. So they probably relishing in what they in the hospital right now.
Like when it happened, I messed with all my little broccoli head friends that are enamored with them. And they started sending me the videos of this kid in the hospital, like trying to pick up on the nurse.
Oh man!
And I'm like,
no, dude, it's all ruined your publicity.
You've ruined your heart for life.
So here's the deal. It doesn't. This was an issue long before the Trend Twins, even though they might just be the most recent ridiculous example. Isn't it not a toxic culture? Anything that would cause you to want to be in peak physical shape year round because you have an image to uphold, you have followers to maintain. I'm sure that there is an element of this where you probably get blasted in the comments of your own video when you show up just a little bit heavier, things like that. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there's a lot of pressure on these guys to look awesome all year round, but it's not realistic and it's not sustainable. Talk about it, Steve.
You look at the greats. So right now, open bodybuilding isn't that loved by the broccoli heads because open bodybuilding is a time-tested event. You're not going to be an open bodybuilder till you're in the 30s. Classic physique, which there's nothing wrong. I'm not going to pick on the class. I think it's great. Is what most of these youngsters are going for because it has replaced the board shorts, what everybody laughs about, because that means you don't have any legs.
Mm.
And so their hero is Chris Bumstead. Chris Bumstead is the champ. How often do you see Chris Bumstead walking around showing off his abs? He's in a flannel shirt working out. So if the champ isn't walking around 24/7, but that's who you want to be.
Right.
I hate to pick on these kids. The youngster Sam Sulek. The kid has potential.
He comes up often on this podcast. Just so that everybody knows, we have mad respect for Sam and everything he's accomplished. And for all intents and purposes, we hear that he's an awesome guy. But when you're that popular, right? You've earned the right to get talked about a lot. With all respect,
when you put yourself out there with some of the things he says, it's 100%. Real easy to go, come on, man. And like I said, as I was saying, the kid is a 1%er. He's got potential to be one of the best in the world. You can see it, but I've seen a million guys like him that have the potential and they don't follow through. Make your money, young man. Not hating that you're making your money. But then he says things like, get up in the middle of the night and if you can't sleep, go eat canes. Like, that's the last thing I want to do is eat canes in the middle of the night.
Maybe that's how he's able to sustain this year round.
I'm sorry, young man. Have you seen the young man's complexion?
Yeah. I heard it's since cleared up though. He's got it under control a little bit. No, I'm not being influenced.
Like
Sorry,
guys. Make your money, young man. There's nothing. I guess what social media has. If you're making money, like Larry Wills, when Larry first came out, my boy Ed and I said that if this guy can hold together, his body holds together, he's going to be one of the greats. But he decided, and there's nothing wrong with it, make your money. He decided he wanted to be a social media star instead of one of the great power lifters, which means when you got to go this way, you can't shoot videos with your shirt off.
Right.
What happened to Larry Wills? He started popping things and tearing things.
Right.
He made his money, but his body, he tore it up to where he couldn't reach the pinnacle. I really think he could have been one of the Mount Everest in the sport.
You think the same downfall befell Callum von Moger, like the Arnold impersonator?
Yes. Well, with him, I think recreational drugs played a huge problem. But he was trying to live up to an image.
Sure.
And when the image shifted away from the men's physique and powerlifting made its move, like once again, the young man, Larry Wills, when that powerlifting move became out, because powerlifting became a little more relevant than bodybuilding because it's easier, and I don't mean easier, but going to bench press, squat, and deadlift is a lot. I can attain a little bit more of that than I can being this bodybuilder, where I'm completely being judged, and somebody's going to tell me, hey, bro, you don't have what it takes. I can do the local meets. I can do these things. So what's more exciting, seeing the guy with his shirt off or the dude who just pulled 1,000 pounds off the ground?
Sure. Man, doing both at the same time.
And that's where
that's incredible.
And that's what he tried to do, because he realized that his views were going down. That man was a social media creature that was created by Generation Iron.
So I think I have this. Let me know if I'm an idiot, Steve. I think they get away with it for too longer than a natural guy would, because the drugs mask a lot of that. People don't realize that all these performance enhancing drugs do is they enhance your recovery. So they can get away with thrashing their bodies for years until it doesn't work anymore. And not everything works forever, right?
Halo, all these type of drugs cover up your adrenaline system. So there is no pain. So you can pop something and just be like, I'm going to keep on trucking. So the natty athlete can't do what they want to do. So like I said, it's nothing wrong with making your money. But if you're not making money, you're throwing away your health. Like when I was competing, and once again, it's an eye thing. I hate to blah, 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 you to death. But I would tell myself, if I have to do that many drugs to win a local show, what's going to happen when I have to go to the national? What's going to happen if I have to turn pro? So if I can't do a baseline of tests to win a local show, I'm not good enough to make it to a national show.
Right.
Because the end game is to be a pro. The end game was to be on the Mr. Olympia stage. The end game was to be Mr. Olympia. I didn't start bodybuilding just to go win a local show. I didn't want to be a pro. I wanted to be on the Olympia stage. So I told myself, if I have to take this much stuff just to win a local show, and these guys are taking an absurd amount to win local shows, to powerlifting meets. These guys are like, they tell me how much Anadrol and stuff they're slamming through their body just to win a local powerlifting meet. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. It's a mean thing to say, to put up pedestrian numbers.
Yeah.
And they're taking that much stuff because they don't want to take the time to build a foundation. Because they go online, and there's so many things online now, which I am envious of the online. I'm completely envious, because when I was coming up, you didn't get any information. You couldn't get a question. There's so much information online now, and I'm very envious of that. And I think you guys have a great thing going, having that at your disposal. But then there's so much bad information, and most of the bad information are, like, I hate to pick on the kids, the twins. Oh, look what I can do with 8 scoops. Yeah, you're gonna die, bro. You almost died.
The hard thing about that is, my coaches and I were actually just talking about this at our staff meeting today. You have to live in order to get clicks and views, and let's face it, that's how a lot of them get paid, right?
Yes.
You have to live on the fringe of the known, and maybe I'm sorry, the fringe of like whatever that meat and potatoes may be.
Yes.
Right. And so, but you shouldn't forsake the meat and potatoes. Like, the methods are many, but the principles are few. You can't forsake the meat and potatoes of performance at the expense of what's going to get you, like, let's face it, what do you call that? A polarized audience. Because obviously saying things that are controversial, doing things that are controversial, looking a certain way that's controversial, living on the fringe is obviously going to put you in some camp. Like, let's face it, they're freak shows. They're circus animals. They are like the bearded lady, right?
You beat me to it. Social media is literally the circus. You can
but
only
at what cost? Man, these kids that, like, if you want to get in that, you have to be something so otherworldly, outlandish. You either have to do stupid stuff like what happened, right? Or look a certain type of way that's unnatural. How do you get there without putting your body in jeopardy?
the old saying was everybody got 5 minutes of fame. Social media is 2 minutes of fame, because most social media stars do not have anything to fall back onto. Like I said, I think the kid Sam has potential, and I'm gonna pick on him again, but I'm not picking on you. I'm just going to point out I think he has a ton of potential. I wish Sam would go on the stage and get his pro card. I wish Sam would make it to the IFBB. I wish Sam would go win a show, because I think he has that type of body and potential to actually make a good pro. So he has something to fall back on. Like we said in previous shows, everybody knows who Bill Kazmaier is. Everybody knows who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, and that's outside of the movie industry. Everybody knows who Dorian Yates. Everybody knows who Ronnie Coleman is. Yeah, buddy, lightweight, because they established something that's going to make them relevant for life.
You spoke about this a couple weeks ago. We call it the legacy.
Yes.
Right. To leave behind something that's going to withstand.
So social media is like, they say everybody's got 5 minutes of fame. Social media is 2 minutes of fame, because you can only do so many antics before you start to fall. Remember Shreds?
Mm-hmm.
Shreds was it. Mm-hmm. Everybody, all those dudes, Joey Swole, all those guys were making a ton of money. Where are they now?
Man, that thing fell apart quick.
2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Social media is 2 minutes of fame. And most people aren't smart enough. You look at these guys. What's the first thing somebody does when they get a big paycheck? They want to go buy a Lambo. They want to get drip. They want to go live in a big house. Social media has a shorter lifespan than an NFL athlete.
They don't buy a Michael Keaton Batmobile like you do?
Hey, quiet. I would buy a Batmobile yes, I would. I admit it. But so who's really reinvesting in themselves?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the pre-workout was the Trends Twins pre-workout or if it was another company. But very few of these people have their own product. So they're normally hustling for somebody else. And that's a whole nother thing about you. Look at the big pimp that the industry has with they all want to say they're sponsored athletes, but they're not sponsored athletes. They're literally paying a store or a company to work for them.
Sure.
It's an ugly cycle when you look at it. But at least if it was their pre-workout, they almost died to make themselves some money.
Mm-hmm.
Universally, everybody out there is making somebody else some money.
So, Steve, how do you fix it? Don't complain without a proposed solution, man. Like, you've been in the industry for a long time. How do you fix it?
This is an unfixable thing. And it's unfixable because the difference between the generations is the old school were told the harder you work, the better the payout is in the back end. This generation is like, I can get it now. And social media will convince you can get it now. Like I said, for 2 minutes, you can make a ton of money. What was that young lady that Lacey Summers, was that her name?
Don't ask me.
She's nothing was special about her. She was just a little girl that had a little teenage girl that had a bubble butt. There was nothing special about her, but she was getting upwards of $30,000 per Instagram. So that's the type of money she was making on sponsorship. I haven't seen or heard from her since then. So it's hard for me to tell somebody. It's like telling a girl who has an OF. You probably don't want to do that when she's making a ton of money right now.
How do you have that conversation? Substitute whatever,
So it's
media
literally
you want.
the same thing. How do you look at somebody that's making a ton of money and go, this probably isn't good for you 10 years from now, 5 years from now?
Do you think that's different though than like, I'm thinking in a different era, kid might have wanted to grow up to be the host of the Late Show or something like that, right? Is it different? Well, because it's entertainment, it's media, it's like it might not be the blue collar stuff that we glorify, right? But does that make it wrong?
Would you? Okay, we'll use entertainment media. The comedians, what do they have to do in order to make it to the big stage?
Sell feet pics.
They've got to, and we're going to come back right now. So Eddie Murphy's and all them, they had to go play these. They had to go. You hear Cat Williams and all these guys talk about how they were playing these small venues, five people. My grandma in the back telling me, "You go, baby, you so funny." So that's the things you did back then to make it to the top. Now, I followed this guy on social media because he was doing door-to-doors. Have you seen the guy that does the door-to-door ones?
The funny black guy?
Yes.
Oh, he's awesome.
I followed him, and he was just doing door-to-doors. So then that's where I go. How do you like for him? It's perfect for him because he'll actually end up being on some B-rated movie, background actor somewhere. He'll actually do something where somebody's going, "Hey, bro, you're actually funny." He'll be Pookie running down the street with some cardboard boxes because they're like, and he'll forever have his Friday moment. So that's different than say the guy or the gal. And I hate to keep saying guys, and I'm a guy, so I'm going to think men first. The guy or the gal who's walking around with 5% body fat when the doctors literally say you need at least between 13 and 15 to be a functioning human being. You got to worry about kidney failure. You got to worry about heart failure. You got to worry about organs. You got all these.
Are you suggesting that the military recruits humans whose frontal lobes are not fully developed?
Yes, because you're not going to as a grown man. If hey, let's take this hill, you'd be like, there's going to be a second where they're going to run out of bullets, and then we'll start our ascent. We're going to wait for them to reload. So, but at 18, so how do you convince an 18-year-old? Because at that age, you're not going to die. You can't get hurt. He's like, "Hey, man, you should worry about the back end."
It's a hard one,
especially if this young man and person is making their money. So the industry itself is never going to change. It's just a matter of how much of Peter are you willing to rob, because Paul's going to want his payday.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be there. You're going to have to answer for it. I have things I answer for things I did, and I wasn't stupid. Tom has things he's answering for, and he wasn't. To
do anything at a high level, you have to explore the fringes at any level of performance.
Yes, you look
NFL players are very extreme.
Have you ever seen Shaq's feet?
No, I don't know that I want to.
Oh man, those toes, and it's like you look at these guys.
Those toes tell a story.
Because Dion had to get his toes.
He
got his toes cut off because he played with bad toes, and they finally just say, "Bro, we got to cut them off."
That's true.
So anything that you do, you're going to pay a price for. But they have a legacy price.
Pick your hard.
Yeah. So I just think it's one of the most everything today is so vain. We've always been a vain society, but today everything is so vain. BBLs, liposuction, these, I can lose weight, or I can just take $20,000 and go down to TJ, or not even 20. I can take $8,000 to TJ and come back and I'm completely have a body.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I came home and told my wife about the first BBL I saw? Ever tell you about that?
Oh no.
Well, yeah, it was a miscalculation, of course, but I came home in awe, you're not going to believe what I just saw at Vaughn's, babe. And she wanted to smack me, right? Obviously, but she hadn't seen one. She's a stay-at-home mom, guys. Remember, and she doesn't want one either. So I come home. She thought I was bragging about this thing or attracted to it in some way.
Yes.
And I was trying to explain to her how ridiculous it was.
It looks like a diaper.
So about a week later, we're in somewhere in public, and she's like, I can't take my eyes off that thing. It's mesmerizing. It's so unnatural, right? And well, I was redeemed in that moment. But anyways, just had to tell
She
you
didn't
that.
tell you sorry though.
Nope, she didn't. She didn't. How could you dare?
I remember
It had its own gravity, like gravitational pull, like a moon. Like, not that it was pleasing to the eyes. It was actually the opposite.
yes.
It's just like, I don't know. Like, if I see something unnatural out of the corner of my eye, I'm gonna be like, what is that thing? You know what I mean?
No, I got squirrel bad. That's mold.
If you've seen one, you know exactly what we're talking about. There was no pleasure in that. But anyways, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I think that the whole point of what we're saying is that it's not like a generational thing. We're not being boomers here. There were vices, or sorry, probably not vices. There were ways to make a quick buck
Yes.
when you were coming up.
Yes.
That probably weren't natural either. At the end of the day, you have to choose the hill you're willing to die on, or the one you're willing to kill your organs over. The Trend Twins are just the most recent example of how, going for clicks, views, what can get me in the hospital the fastest to hit on a nurse on live, basically television. That's what YouTube is. And I don't know, that's not how I want to make my money, but I think there's a cautionary tale in there to, I don't know. If I'm hearing you correctly, Steve, we need to find ways to build longer lasting legacies rather than like flash in the pan fame.
If you're going, it's here it is. Social media money is like lottery money. You see the lottery stories and you're like, bruh, how did Mike Tyson spend $300 million and end up sleeping on the couch?
Sure.
Didn't think that just never thought it was going to end. And social media is 2 minutes of fame, not 5. You get 2 because it's the circus. And I don't see that monkey juggle the ball 5 times.
Sure.
Hey, look, there's another monkey juggling the ball 5 times. There goes. Let's go back to Cullum. When's the last time anybody clicked on Cullum?
True. Absolutely true. And to be very clear, guys, like, we're not hating on these guys. Like, let's be honest, they've all made way more money than Steve or I, or than Steve will ever have the opportunity to blow on Geek Gear. Okay, but the reality
is that like there's some lightsabers that I want.
That's true, but I don't know. There's for the young ones out there listening. Huh?
I mean, I should get a BBL.
100%.
Yes.
The guy that stuffs his khakis with the pads and goes run at the NFL Combine. I love that guy. Anyways, long story short, guys, there's a price to be paid for fame, right? Pick your price. I don't know. Taking 8 scoops of pre-workout's not the price I'm willing to pay. But
oh man, I used to tell those kids that come in all the time, Steve,
my 5 head's showing.
I'm taking pre-workout and Red Bull. It's like, you've got one heart, uno mas, and once you mess that thing up,
100%, guys. Hey, this has been another episode of Muscle Matters. This is our lovely co-host, Steve Suthers. Steve, tell our audience where they can find you.
7420 District Boulevard. Come on by. Right across the street from Nestle.
He doesn't have the internet there, guys, so you have to meet him in person.
Well, yeah, because then they're going to ask me questions.
Address.
No, because ask me questions in person.
And guys, my name is Blake Bernard. You can find me at Blake Bernard Coaching on Instagram. And until next time, this has been your latest live episode of Muscle Matters. Peace out. See you at 6:30 next week.
6:30 next Tuesday.